Good morning, everyone. In the previous session of Human Resource Development, Global Human Resource Development, I was explaining about the views on HRD by various authors. So in this session, I am going to again continue this topic because in the previous session, I explained only views of some of the authors. The remaining views I am going to explain in this session. Okay. So first of all, I am going to explain the views on HRD by Singh and Ghosh. Now, their opinion and their point of view regarding HRD is completely based on the public sector. How public sector treats the human resource, to what extent they are involved in the development and training of the human resource. So their opinion is was completely based on the public sector. Okay. So according to them, in today's organization, profitability, growth, uh, expansion, survival of an organization actually depends upon the human resource who are working within the organization. But this human resource, which plays a very important part in the development, in the growth of our organization, has been neglected by the HR manager since many years. Because according to them, they thought that human resource is one of the most difficult resource to manage, because they have to deal with variety of people having different attitude, personality, a different kind of approach towards the organization. So as you all already know that each and every human being is different from another person. So HR manager has to put in a lot of effort in order to understand each and every human resource, and then they have to manage then they have to develop them, train them, which becomes more and more difficult for the HR managers. So that's why they focused more on the other resources like money, material, machinery. They were very easy to manage in comparison to human resource, because they have to just create a plan. They have to just see whether everything is going on according to the plan or not. But managing human resource is one of the most difficult task for any manager. So that's why they neglected the human aspect of the organization, focused on the other physical aspects of the organization. Clear? So that was the main problem. But in the changing scenario, where different types of technologies were used, different kinds of new technology are used, the business is becoming more and more complicated. The level of complexity in any organization is increasing because of involvement of many competitors in the market, different level of technology, different kinds of new and innovative business which gives tough competition to every kind of business. So that this makes actually very difficult for an organization to survive only on focusing by the physical aspects of the organization. They have to give importance to human resource in order to cope up with such kind of difficult situation in the present scenario, where different level of technology is used, when the organization's complexity is increasing on a daily basis because of beginning of different kinds of business, because of development of different varieties of products and services. Okay. So according to them, they also believe that when more number of skills, when people, where different kinds of skills are required in an organization, whether it is required for creation of a marketing strategy, whether it is required for development of a new and innovative product, or even bringing a new innovative idea, different types of services. So when new and different types of skills are required for every aspect of the organization, there may be a chance that organization may not be able to hire the right kind of person on the job, because you all know that the success of the organization actually depends upon the right person at the right place on the right time. If this does not happen, the organization will face many kinds of difficult situations. Okay. So appointing the right person is very difficult. But when different kinds of skills are required in an organization and different aspects of the organization, finding the right person may be very difficult for them. So what is a better option for the organization in this situation? it is better to train and develop the existing human resource so that they can find suitable candidates, skilled candidates for filling up any position. Suitable and skilled candidates for managing the different aspects of the organization. So here the importance of HRD, actually we can say actually they actually realize the importance of HRD, that how important is development of human resource in order to find the right person at the right place and finding the right person at the right time, because when the time goes away, it is very difficult to get back the time. You cannot get back the opportunity which you have already lost. So finding the right person is very crucial for every organization, and this will become possible through proper development of human resource. Okay, they also believe that for the economic development of a country, the country need to treat human resource as a form of capital, because organizations and even countries, they can get resources from others, from various other ways. Like an organization can get different types of resources from outside, whether it is money, whether it is production, whatever. But in order to become successful, these other resources needs to be managed properly. And how they are supposed to be managed? If they appoint good human resource efficient people, a right person at the right place. So in order for an organization and even for a country to develop, they need good number of people to manage the work efficiently, so that the nation can become successful, the nation can develop itself. So that is the most important factor. So according to them, human resource is not only important from an organizational point of view, it is equally important from a country's point of view for economic growth and development. So the HRD becomes very much necessary for a country's point of view also, in order to become a developed country. They need to treat their human resource as a form of capital. They need to contribute towards the development of the human resource, so the country can become developed, the country can become successful, the country can become open to different kinds of challenging tasks. Okay, so this is the point of view of Singh and Ghosh. Now let us discuss the point of view of Rangnekar. So according to him, he developed his point of view regarding, or he developed his opinion on HRD in the year 1978. So he always believed that HRD exists since the beginning of the organization. So according to him, whenever there was a initial stages, whenever there was a beginning of any type of organization, human resource development exists during that time also. So he didn't specify that when was the time when HRD was actually focused, when HRD took a important place in the organization. He believed that it existed since the beginning of the organization, but in different form, but in different way. Okay, so since the beginning of the civilization, when people started working with each other in a group, there was HRD in that time also. So this was the point of view of Rangnekar. So he believed that people initially were concerned about themselves. Like when you start doing a job, what is the basic motive of doing a job? To get some amount of money so that your physiological needs can be satisfied. So that was the basic need during the beginning of the civilization, to get something to survive, to get food, to get water, to get shelter. So these are the common needs of every human being, and the people were focused about that aspect only. But when the environment allows generation of some surplus, they actually think of investing it to prove their potential for the future. And this was the beginning of the HRD. So in the initial stages, when you start doing a job, you focus on yourself, that how will you get some amount of money to pay for your food, to pay for your shelter, that is rent, to pay for water, to pay for basic necessities. When these things are fulfilled, Now you have something surplus, sorry, the environment provides you some kind of surplus, that you have already achieved everything that you are required for physical survival. Now it is time for you to grow. And how you're supposed to grow? You're supposed to prove your potential and qualities to the organization, so that you can earn even more to satisfy your other needs. So when a human being realizes that now I need to prove my potential, now I need to prove my qualities and talents to the organization, so that I can have better scope in my career, so that I can get promoted to a better position, I can get a higher salary job, so that I can satisfy my other needs. So that is the beginning of HRD. At that point of view, you realize that you need to develop yourself so that you can satisfy the organization, you can satisfy yourself also. So that is the beginning of HRD. So this is the point of view of Rangnekar. So according to him, a person, when he or she realizes that I need to do something for myself, I need to show it to the organization that I deserve to be in the organization, I am one of the most important asset of the organization, you need to prove that to the organization. So that is the point when HRD actually begins. Okay. So the next opinion or point of view which I am going to explain is by Uday Parikh. So Uday Parikh explained HRD by describing three types of meanings which is attached to HRD. So according to him, HRD can be easily explained by describing the three important aspects of HRD. First of all, taking HR as a valuable resource. Now, as you already know that human resource is considered to be one of the most important resource of the organization. They are treated as an asset for the organization. So here also Uday Parikh mentioned that in his point of view, that human resource are the most important resource or are the most important aspect of every organization. They need to be treated as an asset for an organization, so that if human resource is treated well, the people working within the organization are going to improve in terms of their performance, in terms their dedication level will increase, they will contribute more towards the success and operations of the organization. So according to him, human resource must be treated as a valuable resource for the organization. Okay. The second one is they cannot be treated like material. Like I said, every human resource, every human being is different from another. We cannot treat them like any other resource or material. We cannot make plans for them and ask them to simply execute without getting involved in that. So human resource needs to be treated above other materials, above other resources. They needed to be given that kind of place in the organization. They needed to be treated differently by taking into consideration the point of view, the attitude, the personality, the psychology of each and every person working within the organization. So definitely they cannot be treated like other materials. Okay. And the last one is it also focuses on other social aspects. Now we cannot consider people working in an organization from an individual employee aspect, that we need to treat them as an individual as well as people who are working in a group, and how to what extent they contribute towards the organization by playing an important role in a group or a team. So that point of view is also very important. We cannot isolate a single person within the organization. We have to treat them as a group member. At the same time, we have to also keep in mind the aspirations of an individual, to what extent they want to become successful, what is their dream, what is their aspiration regarding their career. So they have to keep both the things in the mind, that to what extent they would like to socialize in the organization, to what extent they would like to achieve their dreams and objectives. So both the things must be properly balanced. So this is the point of view of Uday Parikh. Okay. The next one is Ishwar Dayal. So Ishwar Dayal has also explained HRD in his own manner. Okay. So he also described HRD in 3 points, that what is actually HRD and to how it needs to be treated by the organization. So the first point that he mentioned, that improve the way of adjustment of the individuals to their jobs and the environment. So people adjust when we start working in an organization. We first of all try to adjust with the working condition of the organization, with the rules and regulations of the organization, and the people who are part of the organization. We first of all try to adjust with the other people, with the working condition, as well as with the rules and regulations of the organization. Now here we have to find out in what ways this adjustment can be improved. So instead of forcing the employees to adjust within the working environment, what other ways can be developed so that an individual can adjust in a better way, in better way in the sense that they do not have to get forced to adjust. They adjust willingly, and sometimes they adjust in such a way that they don't even realize that they are adjusting. They are so comfortable working in an organization that they don't even need to adjust, because the working condition and the requirement of an individual is quite very similar. So that kind of methods can be used to make this adjustment procedure more easy for the employees, so that they can contribute at a higher level in their jobs and in the organization. Okay. So second point here says that involvement of employees. Involvement of employees regarding that involvement of employees towards the job, towards the organization, to what extent they are involved in the job, to what extent they want to give more and more contribution towards their job, towards the activities which is given to them, towards the organization. So that involvement needs to be increased. If people are more involved in the job, more involved in the organization, their contribution level will increase. They would like to develop themselves more and more so that they can perform better and better for the organization as well as for themselves. Okay. And the last point which he mentioned is that HRD must be concerned about enhancing the capabilities of the employees. So one of the most important aspect of HRD is that the organization must focus on the development of the human resource, development of the capabilities, potentials, qualities, and skills and knowledge of the employee, so that it can prove beneficial for the employees in order to get success in the career, in order to move ahead in the career. At the same time, it is going to benefit the organization because they get an efficient and talented employee within the organization through this HRD program. So Ishwar Dayal explained HRD. According to him, he explained HRD in these 3 points. So he explained how HRD should be introduced in an organization, how organization, what priority should be given to the HRD. So this is the view of Ishwar Dayal. Okay. And the last point that we are going to discuss is that views by E. Abraham and T.V. Rao. So I have already explained the views of T.V. Rao in my previous session. So this is the view. This is the view of two authors. It is a combination of two authors, how they came together and to what extent they gave a different explanation to HRD. Okay. So these two people have actually focused on creating a proper environment of HRD. So HRD is very important for every organization. The success of the organization depends upon the human resource. That's why development of human resource is very necessary. But what about the environment, the working environment and the surrounding, which will actually make the HRD program successful? See, a person has talent, a person has a capability, but the same person does not have any kind of opportunity. What will be the result? There will be the person will be frustrated, the person will lose his temper, his or her temper. It will lead to different kinds of other situation. Similarly, we have created an HRD program which is going to help our employees, but we haven't provided the surrounding in which the people can actually learn. So the surrounding which enhances the learning of the employees, that is very important. So this point is focused by E. Abraham and T.V. Rao in their point of view or in their opinion regarding HRD. Okay. So according to them, what is very necessary here is that we always assume that the success of HRD actually depends only if the top management supports these HRD programs. That is true, but that is not the complete truth. In order to make an HRD program successful, obviously the contribution, the support of top management is required. The involvement of line manager is also required. At the same time, they need strong personnel policies which encourages positive attitude towards development of human resource, towards development of the employees. If they do not have strong policies which gives importance to the development of employees, the support of top management, the support of line manager won't be sufficient. So these three things are very important in order to get we can say in order to get proper result from the HRD program. So not only the support of the top management, the combination of these three things are very important to get proper result from HRD program. Okay. They also mentioned that in order to make this program successful, first of all, we need a climate, organizational climate. At the same time, we need to prepare the HRD program in such a way that it acts like a mechanism. Like it must have different types of subsystem like performance appraisal, counseling, performance coaching, performance management, potential appraisal, so training and development. So HRD program, every HRD program must have each and every element which is essential to make HRD program successful. We cannot just add training and development, performance appraisal, potential appraisal and leave the counseling and coaching aspect. So it will not lead to a efficient and effective HRD program. We are going to include some of the subsystems, but we are not going to include the other subsystems. Definitely the result will be obtained in half only. Complete result, complete success of HRD cannot be achieved. So in order to make an HRD program successful, in order to make HRD successful, they need to they need to bring all the subsystems of HRD from performance appraisal, training development, coaching and everything. Okay. Now, Abraham and T.V. Rao has also mentioned a particular type of organizational culture which is necessary for the growth of the employees, which is necessary for the development of human resource. That is Octapath culture. That is openness, confrontation, trust, autonomy, productivity, authenticity and collaboration. So these elements are very much necessary. This type of culture is very much necessary in order to have a effective HRD system. Okay. So the first point in this type of culture is openness. Openness here means that people, organization must be open to the new ideas, creative ideas, innovative opinions of the employees. So if an organization gives opportunity to the employees to speak their mind, to give a new and innovative idea, to give different kinds of opinion, that encourages employees to develop themselves, to focus on different types of ideas, to work on themselves so that they can give different type of opinion in any kind of situation. So openness is very necessary in order to encourage employees to develop themselves. Next one is confrontation. Confrontation means when we have a problem, if we don't confront it, we don't try to solve it, it will get more and more complicated. So in order to avoid that situation, whenever there is a problem, we need to address the problem, we need to find out the reasons behind the problem, and then we have to work on the solution so that the problem can be solved and people can carry on with their work. So confrontation is also very necessary in an organizational climate. Next one is trust. So if there is trust between management and employees, then definitely the organization will perform better in many different ways. So they must always try to create a mutual trust between management and the employees, and this is possible by providing different types of opportunities to the employees, giving them importance, giving them power, giving them responsibility, appreciating them, recognizing their good work. So these things create mutual trust between management and the employees. Okay. And the next one is autonomy. Autonomy means a person must have freedom to work the way they want to. They must be given some kind of power. They must be held responsible for their decision. So this type of freedom gives opportunity to the employees to show what they can actually do without any kind of restriction, without any kind of burden on them. So if they prove themselves, then it is a very good situation for both the employees and the organization. If they fail to do or to take any or to handle a situation properly, they would like to learn from this situation. They need to take responsibility of the failure. So this makes employees more and more mature, more and more responsible. Okay, next one, productivity. The management must always encourage the employees to be more productive in terms of giving creative, innovative ideas and all. Take initiatives, take risks, because sometime when we always try to be in a safe position, always try to do the thing which is tried and tested, then nothing new can be created. So in order to become more and more productivity, risk needed to be taken, opportunities needed to be taken advantage. Next one is, like I said, authenticity. Authenticity means when people say something and do something different, that is not the right thing. So whatever people or the employees say, they must do those things. So that kind of attitude needs to be encouraged in an organization. And the last one here is collaboration. So collaboration here means that we need to explain, we need to make the people understand that we cannot work separately, we cannot work individually in an isolated manner. We have to understand the meaning of working in a team, how we work in a team, the importance of the team, the importance of being interdependent on each other. So we can work in a collaborated manner. So collaboration means working with together with other people. That is also very much necessary. Okay, so this is the point of view of E. Abraham and T.V. Rao, that an organizational culture is very important for the success of HRD. Okay, so this is the last point which I have discussed, that is the view of E. Abraham and T.V. Rao. So in the next session, first of all, I am going to explain about the retrospect and prospect. Retrospect simply means that how HRDs developed, the past of HRD, and prospect means the future of HRD, how HRD can be developed in different ways, how it will create a different scenario of business. So that which is the even which is actually the last topic of the first unit, that is retrospect and prospect. So in next session I am going to discuss two new topics. So that's it for today. We are going to meet in the next session. Thank you.